Hey, Gravel Guru followers, welcome to episode 705 here of This is Gravel on Gravel Guru. Make sure you're watching online on YouTube, following along on our podcast. Either way, we love to hear and see from you. This and so much more about Unbound coming up. Neil, we are back in the studio. It is a Sunday night, and do you know what this week is?
It's the beginning of the month of June, Matt.
We are coming in to the beginning of June, but more importantly here in Emporia, Kansas, what is it, Neil?
Unbound week, Matt.
It is Unbound week,
Yes.
and I don't know that we could be any more excited.
Oh, dude, it's going to be awesome. Just the hype already that is filled here around town. People are really excited. Riders are showing up. They've been showing up for over a week already, I would say. And so the excitement is definitely in the air for Unbound 2022.
That is true. We've seen riders coming in the shop the last 2 weeks that have been in town. It's crazy how this event has kind of grown. It started out as, people come to town Friday afternoon. Back when we were first getting started around the event, 10 years ago, 8 years ago, something like that. Oh, we get here Friday afternoon. Oh, then we get here Thursday. And now they're showing up a week and a half early.
Yeah, I went for a ride on Friday and was seeing riders out there all over the gravel. And I mean, never would I have thought over a week out from the event, people are coming into town already. But the fact that, again, folks have been here already for almost a week. So 2 weeks before the event, people are coming, are riding, especially those upper tier riders, getting here a little bit earlier. People coming out and getting to ride parts of the course because they released the route here a few weeks ago.
They did.
And so people are definitely coming to town, and you can feel it in the air.
Yeah, route has been released. We're going to jump into that here in a second. But I think it's worth like a disclaimer at the beginning that neither you or I are riding this year.
Correct.
But we do know a lot of these roads. We know this community. I've spoken to so many riders just coming into the shop. I will say one thing that has helped me a ton is, we've always had our friends base that's been out riding and that type of thing. But now that everybody comes into the shop and wants to talk, a lot more local knowledge, a lot more road knowledge coming in, and just hearing that firsthand experiences from people.
Yeah, it is cool to get to hear people talk about the routes. Like you say, we've got a lot of experience. Matt did put the disclaimer, neither of us are riding this year. Matt's busier. He's taken over the shop, taken over Gravel City Adventure and Supply, which we talked about in our last show a little bit, at least. And then this year, I'm kind of helping out in just about every corner that I can help out, and maybe even will step in occasionally and give Matt a hand in the store too. But I'm doing a lot of volunteering this year, kind of something a little bit different I wanted to do this year, considering I did the double down at Mid-South, and I'm getting ready to do the double up here in a few months in Lincoln. And so that was kind of my focus this year. And
it's hard for a lot of us longtime Emporia people to go ride the event because there's so much going on that week that we all want to help with and all need to help with.
Absolutely. A lot of local help needs to go into making the event happen, does every single year, has for the past 15, 16 years now that the event has taken place. And so I think we all feel that, and some folks try to balance it and do both, and others, I think, just choose what they're going to do each given year. And this year, I made the choice. I just wanted to help out however I could around the event. So
yeah. Well, that's important. Let's dive into the route here.
Okay.
So starting out with the route, one thing I am going to say is we're going to focus a large majority of today talking about the 200-mile route. We will talk about the 100 a little bit, the 50 some, and the 25 a tiny bit here. But we know that the mass majority of people coming to Emporia are coming to see and ride the 200-mile distance. We will also talk 350. I got plans with us for the 350, by the way. I think I've mentioned these to you.
Yeah, you might have mentioned this to me. We'll see.
But that's after this episode. I think you and I need to go ride some miles.
Let's put that back over here for a second, and we'll get to that in the future.
Fine. So, talking 200 miles, Neil.
Yes.
What are your initial impressions? We're looking at the Ride with GPS file off of the Routes and Courses tab on the Unbound website. I've got it pulled up here on my computer. What are you seeing?
So first of all, obviously, I'm seeing what looks to be like to me, a pretty fun route. Okay, we've gone south back like this. Let me be clear. We've gone south to Eureka back in 2016, 17, and 18. So it was 3 straight years that we headed down.
I think right off the bat for me, one thing that stands out on this route is there's a lot of historical spots on this route.
Yes.
I mean, there's a lot of iconic Unbound spots. Loved going north. Wabunsee County was Wabunsee County is its own beast up there.
Yeah.
But going south is just completely different.
Yeah, so going south, again, like you say, a lot of iconic places. We went there, at least towards this direction, those 3 years in a row. To me and to a lot of riders, you're going to start off, and I remember hearing this so frequently when we took this route south, kind of to start off, boy, it's flat out here. And I heard a lot of that, boy, it's flat out here as we're riding out, as we're heading out of town for those first 8 to 10 miles. And then all of a sudden the hills do start coming. And you head out towards the towers, and man, it gets fun.
And the truth of the matter is with that is that first 8 or 9 miles is flat.
Oh, it's so flat. It's very flat.
And actually, I'm going to say it's pretty flat until about mile 13 or so this year. And we're not showing a lot of images of the course or anything like that on this because I want you to make sure, linked in the video description, we do have a video from our friends over at Orange Mud. Josh and race director Ben Sachs went out. They made a video showing off the course. They hit up a couple of the main spots out on it. They went to all the checkpoint towns. They walk you through kind of how the checkpoints work. So we'll link that in the video description. We don't want to steal any of their thunder on that. But we're just giving some local perspective. Because it's flat this first 13 miles, they cut out a section that historically has caused problems in the past.
Yeah, so I'm not surprised that they cut this out. We were rerouted on this actually back in 2018. The last time we went south was 2018 was the year that we were delayed because it was a thunderstorm taking place at 6 a.m. when the race was supposed to begin. And I remember heading that direction, telling the riders around me, I have a feeling that we're not going to be taking a left up here at Road D. Why? Just got a feeling. I'm local.
Yeah.
Just got an idea back from 2015 that we're not going to go this way here in a little bit. And sure enough, there were people directing us to not turn left at Road D, to head forward. I think it's to YY is that road, to head out towards the towers because you don't want to have that.
And you and I have rode this section a lot, and I think it's important to remember that, like, we love this section. It's a fun section when it's dry.
Fantastic section. Fantastic.
The problem is I've never rode it with 2,000 to 3,000 other people.
I have. Well, not that many.
That close together right there at the beginning. So having that first 13 miles before you really make your first sharp turn is not necessarily a...
And to remember back in 2015 when we did ride that, it was a smaller event. I mean, that was, 7 years ago now? Mm-hmm. So it was a smaller event, but even then, I mean, that was just chaotic as we came into that mud.
And what we're talking about is, that's the mud year. That's where they hit the mud, the first 10 miles in there, and it was a long section of mud right out of the gate. So that is not on the course right there.
Correct.
Honestly, I'm going to go out on a limb and say if it's a wet year, there's not as many hike-a-bike miles as in 2015.
I think you're probably safe with that. Having said that, there's going to be plenty of areas I'm sure that you might have to walk your bike or get off. But I will also say this too. So those first 24, 25 miles or so, if it is wet, was all rideable in 2018 again when a thunderstorm was rolling through at 6 o'clock and is literally completely crushing this whole area with rain. I mean, I remember hearing from some of our local XL riders that were out at that point caught in that thunderstorm. And it was a nasty one.
You remember the down power pole?
I was about to get to that. You were out there out by Texaco Hill, right? Yep. And the down power pole across the
route.
Across the route as the 200 riders are coming through. I mean,
fun times. and why are we talking rain, Neil? One, because people are afraid of rain.
Yeah, people are terrified.
And two, they really wander this like Facebook group and talk about the weather a lot. Shout out to Frank Waugh down in Wichita on this one. He's been doing great forecasts. He's with, I believe, Cake TV down there in Wichita. So he's actually been doing some forecasting in that group. So it's a group there on Facebook. Just search Unbound Gravel 2022 and you'll find it. He's been doing some up-to-date forecasts there. And there is some prediction of rain this week.
Correct.
We can't say when it'll be, how it'll be, but I'm going to guess with this many days of rain predicted, there'll be rain sometime this week.
Absolutely. Now, the thing is, we had rain this previous week. Again, I rode on Friday.
Yeah.
Roads were dry. Now, granted, I stayed off the minimum maintenance roads. If I would have jumped onto some minimum maintenance roads, they might have been either a little wet or they would have just been completely choppy because I did pass a few that were pretty choppy because you could tell either folks had ridden through there in their Jeeps or their trucks or their vehicles at some point. But hopefully it stays dry.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that statement. One thing that stands out to me on this course is when people get on Ride with GPS, they look at these surface numbers here.
Stop.
and I get this is all crowdsourced data on knowing these roads because understand there's a lot of these roads that there might be one house in 2 or 3 miles or even less out there in some of this area.
I'm going to say less.
Yeah. There is not 90 miles of pavement on the 200 course. I don't know that there's 9 miles of pavement on the 200 course.
I would think if I just had to sit down for a second, you'll find less than 10 miles without a doubt.
So I've seen a lot of chatter about that online. This is predominantly gravel.
Yeah, you don't come to Kansas and ride paved roads. They don't really exist out here. They do not pave our roads. Roads that have been paved in the past, guess what happened? They let them go, and they let them basically turn back into gravel. We don't have a lot of paved roads. You couldn't find 90 miles
between
of
here and
pavement,
Eureka.
yeah,
Like,
without jumping on the interstates.
and even there, you're going to get there quicker.
Yeah.
So that is one takeaway on here. The other one is 2 checkpoints this year.
Yeah.
We've done that in the past. That's not uncommon anymore. But it's a long ways down there to Eureka.
Correct. So what I do like that this year they did, I mean, I know when they went north, it was about mile 65 or so when Alma was hit. What I do like that they've done is they've put those water stops in as well to just let folks refill because, boy, if you got to carry all of your stuff for 78 miles during a race, that is a lot of extra weight on the bike, a lot of extra weight on you, a lot of extra things to carry that could or could not go wrong. So to be able to have that water stop pretty early in there around, I think, mile 43 or so.
41,
okay, is really beneficial for the riders.
Yep. And that
big
is,
thing, you can't have your crew there. I've had to answer that question. People have messaged me, emailed me, and asked me about that. That is not a crew-supported water stop. That is simply a spot to come, refill your bottles with water. Yeah. You need to carry nutrition for 78 miles.
I believe I saw Unbound put out on Facebook today, and today's Sunday. Today is Sunday before the event.
Yes.
That I think the NICA kids from Manhattan are going to be up there helping out at the checkpoint. So that's all the help you're going to have is maybe a couple people to help fill some bottles, that type of thing. But that is neutral support. Your support crew is not allowed out there, and it is almost impossible to get a support out there anyways.
I was going to say, where they put it at, if your support drives out there they're going to be in the way.
Yeah.
They're going to be chaotically in the way.
It's one road in, one road out.
Exactly, especially with the first water stop. The second one is a little bit maybe easier to get to in Hamilton. That first water stop, you are not going to get easy into. And the reality is, if you don't have a vehicle with probably some big, meaty tires, you're going to probably flat at some point on those roads that are back there because those roads are the fist-sized big rocks.
If you watch the video from Orange Mud, I know this spot for a fact in there.
Yeah.
There's some drone video where it shows you some of these descents. Now, that video was shot in April, so it's not nearly as green in that video as it is now because the Flint Hills are gorgeous with all this rain we've had.
So green, man. Oh.
So, anyways, you get to Eureka. Eureka, your support crew can be there. Anything you want. Eureka is honestly a pretty good-sized town for this event to stop in, too.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a gas station. There is a couple gas stations. There's a grocery store. There's some fast food. Now, understand there's more people probably coming through the event than that town has as a population that day. So I would think wisely and I'd be stocked up. I wouldn't expect to go get things that day in town. But absolutely, with that said, support any of your 4-H clubs, your FFA chapters. They're all going to have bake sales and those type of things going on because the checkpoint is at the high school in town.
Yeah, at the high school. I think that's where we had it 2 of the 3 years that we ran south in 16, 17, and 18. And it was always easy to get in, get out of. That's usually where my wife and kids met me at. And absolutely quick in and out. Where they head this year after Eureka would be new roads to me. This is actually one of the few sections of this course I've never ridden before. That kind of makes me a little bit sad because I always like knowing what's all out there.
It goes a long way south of Emporia, and south of Eureka.
Yeah, it goes south of Eureka. In the past they kind of went a little bit east and a little bit south, and the roads connect kind of back to that point a little bit further on in the route. But there's some new roads there that I've never ridden on, so I'm definitely excited to kind of see what comes out of some of the video that people ride down in that area and see what's there.
It'll be interesting to see. There's some up down. I know on the way out of Eureka, there's a massive hill.
Okay.
I mean, like just south of town, a massive hill you climb out of.
Nice.
So that'll be fun for them. I'm not much of a climber myself, but yeah, that's right around 79 miles, 80 miles in, where that big hill comes. So that'll be fun there. But I will tell you, once you cross Highway 99 down there about really leaving Eureka, about mile 87 to Hamilton, in all honesty, 119, 120. So that 35 miles, you're going to be lonely. I mean, that's a pretty barren area.
There's nothing out there, man.
And the thing is, since you're past the halfway point in the day for most of that section, riders have spread out.
Field thins, definitely.
Yeah.
Thins out.
And depending on prevailing winds that day, you've either switched from having a tailwind to get you to Eureka or a headwind to get you home. Like, you've kind of changed that direction about halfway on this course, headed back home.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty barren Flint Hills area, but a gorgeous rolling hills area, but wide open.
Some beautiful, beautiful places down there. Not anything, again, monstrous as far as hills, but some good climbs.
And they just keep coming in that area.
Yeah, just some beautiful areas. I know that there is some spots down there that if you do, again, if the course is wet in that area, you're probably going to have to hop off the bike and walk it, because there's definitely some areas that are going to get a little bit soggy. Have some of that peanut butter mutter going on. And so it'd be probably pretty wise. Again, I say this to everybody. It's wise to just get off your bike and carry your bike if you see mud. If your main goal, if you've been training to come down here and finish the event first and foremost, pick your bike up, walk it through the mud, get through it that way, get through it safe, bike intact, because the time that you're going to spend scraping mud off your bike, the time that you're going to spend maybe having to fix something on your bike.
And just the weight of the mud on your bike.
Correct. It's going to ultimately all slow you down, whereas if you see people getting off their bikes and it's not rideable, you hop off, get through that quick, and get back on, and ultimately save time in the long run.
So mile 120, we hit Hamilton.
Yeah.
Again, this is just like mile 41. Hamilton obviously is a town. It's got a post office. It's got a cute little, I hate to call it a general store, but a cute little downtown store that is going to have supplies and whatnot. I would not rely on that supplies when 2,000 of your friends just hit the same store. Yeah.
Hamilton is not a big town.
So they are going to have the community center. They've got water open. I mean, so maybe some shade, some places to cool off. But I'd get in and out of town there.
And again, it's not a place for your crew, as Matt said, to be at. Mm-hmm. That town could not handle a crew of people rolling into it.
I know it's going to be tempting. It's at mile basically 120 on the day. If it's a hot day, that's going to be a great place to find a shade tree and sit down for a little bit. But my number one recommendation is keep pedaling.
And that's really, for me, and this is something Bobby Thompson used to always say, recover on the bike.
Yes.
Don't sit down and wait and hang out very long at those checkpoints, because if you do, it's easier to stay sitting down. Get back on the bike.
You have a lot of climbing left after Hamilton.
Yeah.
Because basically you're headed back out of Hamilton, back to where you were at mile 41. You're only going to be about a mile or two off of that Oasis checkpoint on top of Texaco Hill on the other side. The unique thing about where you're getting out there is predominantly, I think every year that the event has gone out over Texaco Hill, you're going to go down the hill you've always gone up.
So 2015 was the only time I remember us going down it. Again,
you did go down it.
Yeah, so the mud year, we came out a very similar way as to what is this year. We came out to what is that big AT&T tower that folks are going to see out there shortly before they get to the water oasis. And we came off of that, and instead of turning right like they're going to...
2015 go to Cottonwood?
Eventually.
Okay.
It was like a 150 stop. Yeah, it was a 150 stop. And so instead of turning right like they're going to do this year, we turned just straight left off of that. And when we turned left, we headed through this area and then came down Texaco and kind of wiggled our way back into Madison. And so, but this is the first time we've come down that in a long time, 7 years. We're used to climbing it. It is a nice mile-long descent.
With a 90-degree turn at the bottom.
Correct. And it's a little bit further down the road, so it's not terrible. That 90-degree turn isn't going to be too rough. What's going to be rough is it is another one of those sections that, depending on how the rain has hit it, some of that can wash out, some of that can change just a little bit. And again, where you're at when you're back in there, road conditions can change from storm to storm pretty quickly.
And with our current forecast, there could be storms that day.
Correct.
And understand the way thunderstorms work if you're not from Kansas is, I mean, Eureka could get rain and we could be sunshine up in Emporia all day, or vice versa. Madison could get rain and neither Eureka or Emporia get rain.
So 2017, I'm leaving Eureka, probably been about 20 miles or so outside of Eureka, and I'm riding with a friend, and we're looking around, and there is a storm cloud coming from Eureka, and there's a storm cloud coming from kind of down like the Leroy area up towards, and two clouds just converging basically on our spot. And I mean, we got poured on lightning and thunder, whereas a lot of people that were north of us on the course
never saw.
We're like, what rain were you talking about? There was no rain in 2017.
Well, and with that, this is Storm Geek in me. There's few places better to watch a cool thunderhead out in the distance than the Flint Hills.
Let me tell you, it was cool until we were riding and a strike of lightning hit in the field next to us.
Let's avoid that.
And that shook me a little.
Yeah, let's avoid that.
Yes.
So, anyways, then you make it into Madison. I'm going to say once you've made it into Madison at mile 165-ish, just keep pedaling.
I don't want to say you're done. You're done.
There's some climbs. There's some roads that could be wet and muddy if it's muddy. But we're talking mile singular.
Well, and here's the thing, too. Get past those first 10 miles out of Madison. So those first 10 miles out of Madison are by far the most, I would say,
I mean, this is kind of
difficult.
That last 25 miles is not uncommon from roads we ride all the time.
The last 25 miles I rode most of the other day when I rode down to Madison. It is very familiar roads. They are things that we ride here pretty frequently. And for the most part...
Did you ride to Madison without me?
Yes, Matt, you had to work in the bike shop. I'm sorry. You have to take care of this event and all the wonderful people that are coming to this event and prepping bikes and doing things like that.
Did you get pizza?
I did not get pizza.
Okay.
It was a little bit hot, and I just wasn't feeling pizza at that point. I was feeling cold drinks, and so
that said, there is a Casey's in Madison.
Yeah, Madison is fully stocked. Madison has Casey's that can definitely serve you and serve some of your crew, but again, it's not going to be able to take care of all 2,000 of you. They're going to be pretty run over, I'm sure, that day. But yeah, this last section in, guys, just keep pedaling.
That's the best thing. Get home.
Just keep pedaling.
Like, if you make it to 165 and say, I can't get on, and keep going, get on your bike and keep pedaling. I'm sorry.
Just keep pedaling. It's not that bad.
But what's going to take you out at that point is if your crew's there with a comfy lawn chair.
Again, don't sit down.
Yep.
Get back on the bike. Keep riding. Think about what your local 35, 40-mile route is that you ride at home, and think it's just doing this. This is what's left. And the reality is that this last 35, 40 miles, I'm sure, is easier than what your 30, 45 at home is at. Because, again, this predominantly everything rolls downhill towards Emporia. Now, you're going to have climbs, but everything rolls downhill because we're
in
that
the river
riverbed.
Bottom.
Yeah, river bottom. So you're going to progressively head that direction. You can even see that in the elevation chart.
If it's getting dark out, you could maybe see, I know in years past they've had searchlights and stuff from downtown Emporia.
Mm-hmm.
And just to know the shoot and the finish line celebrations here when you get to Emporia should be enough to help motivate you. I mean, if you're coming to Emporia for this event, obviously you've done your research, you've done your homework, you know what this event and what the finish line is like. So that kind of wraps us up on the 200. I've got the 100-mile route pulled up here on my laptop, and it is like
almost identical.
With the exception of that little section that was from mile Oasis 41 to where the 200 route goes over it. Yep. You're going to ride that 3 miles. Basically through there on the ridge of Texaco Hill.
Yeah.
Like, this looks like a fun route.
It's a rad section. The route is fantastic. Honestly, looking at this 100-mile route, this is...
We're going to go do this.
Exactly what I was thinking.
Not this weekend.
Correct. But this to me, looks like one of the more fun 100-mile routes that the event's had in the past.
I don't know how this is going to work with the event. And I should have... I've been around enough people today. I should have asked this question before we came on the show. Checkpoint for water at mile 41 as well.
Uh-huh.
Some of the fast 100-milers, maybe Peter Sagan, are going to catch the back of the... Yeah, Peter Sagan. He's come to town. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
So these fast 100-mile pros and whatnot are going to catch up with the back of the 200, I'm certain, by mile 41. Yep. Just if they're putting down at least a 20-mile-an-hour average, just the way this works out there. But what I got distracted saying there is you've got a checkpoint at mile 41. Keep pedaling. You've got to get 65 miles into Madison for the official checkpoint.
Yeah.
That's a long ways to a supported checkpoint.
Correct.
I think that's probably going to be the hardest and maybe one of the hardest mental parts of the day is just to keep moving forward at that point. But remembering you're on the clock. You're on a 10-mile-an-hour average to get to Madison before the cutoff. Make sure you get to Madison.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I again, I don't have anything official from the event, but I would be curious if there's a little bit of... If it's 6.5, or if maybe they put a little bit of extension in because of that water break chaos that could or could not maybe possibly be a part of that. I would still just say, absolutely keep moving. It's going to be a long time out there. But
I am on their website right here. I've got the 100-mile pulled up. It's 104.8 miles. Water Oasis at mile 41 at Texaco Hill. And remember, only water will be provided at Oasis. Absolutely no support crews. Throwing that out there as many times as I have to say it. Arrival in Madison at mile 64.1. Madison City Park arrival cutoff time is 1:30 p.m. They start at 7, so
That's 6.5 hours.
You got 6.5 hours, and they're giving you a half-hour window there. The departure to leave Madison is 2 p.m. So make it to Madison.
Yeah, keep pedaling. In fact, this is just me. Now, you do what you would want to do as a rider. This is just me. I would bring 65 miles worth of stuff on the bike, and I wouldn't even stop at that water stop.
I'd take a selfie somewhere out there on Texaco Hill.
Sure, I would take pictures the whole day, no doubt.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done that. I've done Instagram Live for Tailwind before on the 200 route. I mean, I no problem. I do that kind of stuff for sure, but I'm not stopping. If I have to get 65 miles, 6.5 hours, you have to have that 10-mile-an-hour average. If you're not at the front of the 100 miles, just keep riding. You can carry 4 water bottles with you. You can carry a hydration pack and 2 water bottles or 3 water bottles with you. You can carry enough, I'm sure, for 65 miles to take care of yourself to get to Madison. That would be me also knowing the roads here, knowing what I can do and what I have done before in the past on riding these roads. Again, somebody that's not comfortable, you also can reassess everything too at mile 41 and say, ooh, hey, you know what? I need more fluids. You know, even though I tried to carry a lot with me, I'm just going at a slower pace than I thought. And so I need to stop and get fluids. It's there for you if you need it. But don't wait too long, because you don't want to be the person, because every year there's somebody misses the cutoff by a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and they're devastated. But that cutoff is there for a reason. So get there.
Get there and understand. I'm sure this isn't officially sanctioned, this statement, by any means, but the bright side is once you leave Madison, you got people that have been riding 200 miles all day long, so the finish line's going to be open for quite a while that evening.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. The finish line's open late. There's definitely...
Just keep pedaling, get home. That reward of coming through that chute's going to be so worth it when you get back to Emporia.
100%.
Now, one thing we didn't talk about is, imagine leaving Emporia on Friday on an event. XL 350 miles. I've got this one pulled up, and I'm not going to dive into this one.
I don't know enough of these roads to dive into this one.
I'm going to agree on that one. 350ers, it's going to be challenging.
Dude, they made a killer route.
Yeah.
Absolutely killer. Like, looking at it, knowing some of those areas, again, not having been on every road, but just knowing those areas and what's out there, holy moly.
I'm looking at it right here, and my thing is with it, we kind of know the area to Cassidy, their first checkpoint town. I think at mile 58. I ran out of water on the Cannonball somewhere there about mile 68.
Yeah.
These are hard areas. This is some desolate area.
Dude, it's
now what I do give them,
brutal.
I give them massive props for working as many towns into this as they did.
Yeah.
They've worked Cassidy, they've worked El Dorado, Eureka, Yates Center, Virgil, Hamilton, Madison, and back into Emporia. I texted Neil as soon as I saw this route when it came out last week.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, we're bike packing this. This is like the perfect 3 or 4 day bike packing event distance. So maybe we'll see in the fall.
We'll see.
Maybe in the fall.
It's definitely a killer route. It would be fun to bike pack for sure. It's not going to be easy. I think it will be a challenging route. I will think, and I can't say this for certainty because, again, I haven't ridden all the roads. I do know that in the past few years, some folks really were a little bit frustrated with some of the roads they had to ride through in the evening time up in Wabaunsee County and how bad the roads are up there. I believe the Southern Flint Hills roads, at least that I've ridden on the past, are better?
Well, I mean,
better.
it's important to remember that I don't know if this is an accurate statement now, but at one point a lot of these roads out here existed because of the oil fields.
Yeah.
So with the oil fields, the thing with that was, I mean, they're getting trucks in daily to check them, to pump off the oil, whatever they have to do for them, service them. So the roads have historically been a little more established out here, or a little more traffic over time. Maybe not in the last 2 decades. I don't know. How active they are down there. I will say I give Ben and the crew huge props on. There's a lot of unknown roads on this route for even a lot of locals in this area. That area around Yates Center, that's been a lot of talk lately. Like, who's rode down there? I think there were some people I knew that went out to ride the 70 miles from Yates Center to Hamilton this weekend just to scout it out and see it. But I don't know that area at all.
Yeah, I have not been down there at all. Closest I've been is kind of in that Gridley Leroy area, but that's north of there. I've never been down to Yates Center, so that's a very new area.
I did go down there once on a geology field trip in college, but
Nice.
that was not to scout the gravel roads. So it'll be interesting to see. I mean, the nice thing for them is it doesn't look like it's going to be a super complicated area to try to find water. That's one thing that's always scared me with this event.
Yeah.
And being in June in Kansas is you shouldn't really have to hunt for water. Food and
Correct.
packing some of that stuff's one thing. But it looks like there's a lot of lakes, ponds. I mean,
If you need water, hopefully you find water.
yeah, a spigot somewhere in someone's yard type
Yeah.
deal. So I do give them massive props on this route, though. It looks like a lot of fun. If I was in shape to go ride 350 miles.
Like I said, what?
Yeah,
When? Fall time? Yeah.
maybe.
Maybe. Okay.
Okay.
On to the next one.
Well, those are the routes we're talking.
Next part.
Oh, next part of the show. I have notes even for this.
Yeah, I know. You have notes.
Okay, we're kind of babbling today. I'm kind of babbling today. I realize this.
We're excited. I think that's the
we
reality.
are
We're
excited.
excited about the event. Last year, there was still kind of this like, ooh, we're back, but it was still kind of weird, I think, being back. This year, we're excited to be back. Excited to have everybody coming here. And I think everybody's also excited to come here, whereas last year, some people were still even nervous about coming out here for the event.
Well, and that's the
staying away, so.
matter of it. So, yeah, so Neil, you bring up just how excited we are to have this back.
Dude,
And I don't think anybody realizes, and I've preached this before on the show, like how hard it was not having it that year in town.
And again, back in the sense that everybody seems way more. Again, it was here last year. The race was here. Unbound was here last year. But there was a different vibe surrounding everything last year. This year, that has completely changed. And you, again, feel it in the air. People are excited within the community. And it was rough not having it in 2020. I think that hurt some things probably going into 2021. But this year, again, I've had more conversations with locals about the event than I've probably had since 2019 and maybe 2018 even. So
Yeah. Well, and one thing, I don't know if I'm allowed to share this. I'm going to share this. We all know there's about 4,000 people coming to town. That's 4,000 athletes taking part.
correct.
That's not 200 expo booths taking place Thursday and Friday in town. That's not friends, family, and support crews coming. Like, understand, Emporia is a town of about 22,000, I think,
Yeah,
roughly.
a little bit bigger maybe.
Yeah,
but
maybe 25,000.
Yeah.
I'm betting we see an influx of around 12,000 people to Emporia that weekend. So we'll get into the size and impact a little bit later, but it just brings its own vibe with it.
Correct.
So on our next segment here of the show, this is something I was thinking about as I've been in the shop this last week answering the phone. What are some things people need to bring with them, pick up when they're in town, or just my recommendations of what you should have? And I did bring a bag from the store here. I just went and picked it up. It's Sunday night. I walked through. Isaac was in there already wrenching on bikes for the week. I don't know that Isaac's left. If you see Isaac in there, give him a high five. Tell him he's doing great work this week. All of the mechanics, all of the staff in there, they're doing amazing things for us in the community. But I walked through and I found the 5 items I would recommend if I was visiting Emporia and about to take part in this event. So Neil has not seen anything inside this bag.
I got
told
no
him,
idea.
We tried planning this segment earlier in the week. What was that, Tuesday morning maybe? Wednesday morning?
Yeah,
You came by the
it's been a
shop and that
busy
just
week.
did not happen. So anyways, we're going to start with 5. I'll pull them out of the bag, and I'll walk you through why I think this.
Okay.
So, number 5?
Number 5, let's see.
Okay,
What you
number
got, Matt?
5. So this one's a little bit out there, and this is the sense of shopping local. So I do have a water bottle here. This is our custom Gravel City one. Isaac Cushenberry. He's our service manager at the store. He's also going to college right now as a full-time student in the graphic design program, John Decker's program up at Emporia State University. He did an internship with us and designed our water bottles this year. He had to learn how the supply chain works too a little bit. These were not the original colors he was hoping for, but he worked with us. We got it sorted out. So what I am saying this is these water bottles is simply to shop local. Shop local in the sense that we have a lot of great stores and whatnot in downtown Emporia. It might not be water bottles you need. Cyclists usually have a lot of water bottles. They are fun keepsakes, those type of things. We have a 22-ounce bottle and a 32-ounce bottle. But when you're in downtown Emporia, understand these stores thrive on people coming in. They love hearing where people are coming from. So whether you're buying merchandise at the store, you're buying Unbound merchandise, you're going to the Sweet Granada.
Yeah.
Shop downtown, stop in and say hello to the store owners. Tell them where you're from.
Absolutely. You know, the thing that I love about that you brought water bottles in, and again, I had no idea Matt was bringing water bottles in. Whenever my family and I travel around, we go different places. If we see a bike shop, we always stop in, regardless of what it is that they specialize in. If they have mountain bikes, road bikes, or if they carry gravel bikes, or something else even. We just like to stop in to shops, and every time I stop into one of the shops, if they have their own water bottles, I always buy one, and I just kind of collect those ones. I actually don't even use those ones. I just have a collection of water bottles from bike shops that I've been to all around, and I think it's just cool to grab those kind of things because, one, they're not very expensive, but two, ultimately they do help back the shop a whole lot.
Oh yeah. I mean, those are things that all help the community and whatnot, and I love just seeing Isaac's design and any of our designs. We actually have a T-shirt in the store designed by one of our former mechanics employees in the store. Alyssa did a great job on this. It's a plant shirt. It's in red. We have 4 of our own shirts. All of the designs coming from local artists or local shop people at some time in the history of the shop.
Yeah, which is awesome.
So number 4. So this is something I'd recommend having figured out, or something to invest in ahead of time. High quality bags. This is the Sodero top tube bag here, the tank top pack. This is the bolt-on variety. I love these because they have high quality zippers. But you're going to find, if you haven't tried setting up your bike already for the week, you're going to try packing a whole lot of stuff on it for this 200-mile journey. So quality bags. We love Sodero in the store. They're bringing in a ton of different colors, ton of different varieties. They've got some great products. We also have some Ovea Negra, some just great brands in there, and they last.
Yeah, so what I've done personally in the past with Sodero bags and their great bag or other bags that I put on the top tube, when it comes to Unbound, for me more than anything, or any long event for that matter, if I need a battery cache, it's going in there because I want quick access to that and that cord and everything so that I can get whatever it is that's running low, whether that be my phone or it be my GPS unit, or if like in 2018 when I didn't charge my light and ended up riding in the dark here, I had to charge it really quickly during the event, and so it was nice to have that battery cache there. So I always put that, and then either a snack or just some little treat that if I'm just looking to kind of dive in and get something quick. The bag is always a great thing to have because it's sitting right there in front of you. You don't got to reach back in a jersey pocket and try to find it or fish through, a pocket that you might have on one of your camelbacks or hydration vests. It's literally right there in front of you.
I love mine there. I have my driver's license, a baggie with maybe a $20 bill and my driver's license, credit card, something like that in them. They just seem to work, and they're high quality, and they come in a lot of fun colors.
Yeah.
So that was my number 4 option. Just on the bike, storage, support, those type things. For number 3, Neil, what is my favorite question to get about riding gravel?
What tires?
So what tires, you ask? So I am not saying one tire over another. I will say if you stop into the store, we'll have this conversation with you. We don't carry any bad tires for gravel in the store. I will say that much. There are bad tires for gravel.
Correct.
Absolutely there are. They're just not stocked in our store. So my recommendation with this one is good tires. We are actually going to have Pirelli in the store on Thursday, Friday. They're going to be setting up and mounting tires. Nat Ross with Pirelli is going to be in the store. So make sure you come in, at least say hello, talk to them about their technology. But we also got Vittoria, we've got Panaracer, we've got Maxxis, we have Renee Hurst, lots of different tire varieties, but those are all tested by someone here in the community before we put them out there and know that they work.
Yeah, Matt says that the shop doesn't carry, and again, I'm not a shop employee, I'm not even a shop ambassador anymore, but what I will say about it is, what's carried...
That's an awful nice shirt for not being
It is. I love Gravel City Adventure and Supply Company. But what I will say is the tires that they carry are, again, what we ride here. What we ride here, not what we ride when we go to Nebraska or what we ride when we go to Oklahoma or what we ride when we go, off to the East Coast or West Coast or any. These are the tires that we ride here in Emporia. These are the tires that we have tested through thousands and thousands of miles in the Flint Hills, and we know that they work. And guess what? If a tire is not good and it doesn't work, guess what? Matt hears about it, and we're like, dude, these tires are terrible.
So Isaac actually wanted me to bring one in, and we've all had new bike day. We know what that's like. Yeah. We sent a new bike out the other day, and then these people are probably listening to the show. Oh, those should be fine in the area. They're a brand we carry, but not necessarily a model we carry in the store. Oh, it came new on new bikes, not really tested. It came back less than 12 miles in with a 4-inch gash in it. And so it proved to us those are not.
In the reality is a lot of tires that come stock on a bike are not always at least the best for what the Flint Hills are going to offer.
So I will say, as part of number 3, the other side is I brought a bottle of Orange Seal. Orange Seal is what we use in the shop for everything. We do have some other varieties if you're just needing a top off, but if you're getting new tires with us, it's going to end up with Orange Seal in it. We live and die by this stuff. I mean, it's what we all run, and it's worth it. It's weight in gold. It can save your day out there.
Any puncture I've had out here, it's
make
saved
sure you're stocked up on Orange Seal, and when I say stocked up, your tires are topped up before the event. Yep. You might need some at the checkpoints to put in, but again, how much time do you want to spend waiting at checkpoints?
Correct.
Number 3. That was number 3, Matt. Number 2. Is that seat getting a little hard over there, Neil?
No.
You know what would help?
What would help, Matt?
Chamois butter.
Oh.
Chamois butter is my number 2 thing you need to make sure you have.
Coconut flavor.
I believe they've announced it online already, but chamois butter is going to have a brand new product. And the place to buy it is Gravel City Adventure. They're going to have it out at the expo. We'll be the first retailer, I believe, Aaron said, that it's available for purchase before the event.
I think it goes live June 1st is what they put in their social media here. And so, that will be out. It is definitely meant for those long days in the saddle. And I'm not going to lie, I'm excited to hopefully get my hands on some and get to try it out here, too, when they're in town. So.
And my number 1 product, while it's been around for a little while, I think maybe since I've been in the store, I've understood a little bit more of its use. And I'm not going to go ride a 50-mile ride without one of these in my bag. In my tank top bag from Sodero. But let me pull it out here. It's something small. The Dynaplug Racer Pro. I think I showed these to you in the store the other day there, Neil. They've for several years had their plug type ones where you unscrew the lid on them. Let me see if I can do this where you can see it on camera. The actual Dynaplug is this tool right here. It's 2-ended, has a plug on each end of it with the plugs built into them, but it actually holds 4 because these unscrew and you can turn them around and you have another set of plugs. How many times have we fought with bacon strips, Neil?
Yeah, a lot. Yeah.
I mean, bacon strips serve a purpose.
Yeah.
And they helped us for a long time, but technology has just advanced past that. Have you played with this before?
I've not got to play with this.
Like it's like it just feels quality too. Like it is machined aluminum. We still have the plug style in the store, and they have a racer model that's a carbon fiber. It's a little bit lighter, but just has a plug on each end instead of the 4 of them. But what do you think? Like
sleek, it's light.
The fact that you could pull that out of a jersey pocket or the bag, you could have a tire plugged in 10 seconds.
I would say no weight penalty really, and not a lot of space penalty either. I mean, that's tiny, dude. That's
I mean, now that
so small, you can put it somewhere and nobody's gonna notice.
Yeah, right. Now that you've had one, like, and feel it, is that going on your Christmas list?
I might go on the Christmas list. I can tell Brandy and the kids where they need to go.
I'm absolutely sold by these. I would not leave on the 200-mile route or the 100-mile route without one of them on me or a plug kit of some type.
Definitely.
So, those are my top 5, Neil.
I think it's a good top 5. If folks are coming to town, a lot of these things they're going to need. One of the things people keep asking about, too, when they come to town are CO2 cartridges. Matt, do you have CO2 cartridges in the shop?
We have over 2,000 CO2 cartridges as of today in the shop. While I refuse to answer if that's enough, that's as many as we're ordering. I feel like we might have started our own inventory problem in the CO2 cartridge world, but we have as many as we can get. I mean, I'm pretty much we've got them there. I hope that's enough for everybody.
We understand folks can't fly with them,
but I also know that all 2,000 people aren't flying in.
Correct.
So we've got a ton of them, and actually we've got more than 2,000. I've got more stock I found of them today. But I'd recommend CO2 or a hand pump of some sort.
I was gonna say, if you have a hand pump, bring your hand pump with you, in case you can't get CO2, and also in case, guess what, you maybe need to top off more than once throughout the race because, again, these Flint Hills are not probably like most of your traditional gravel roads out where you ride.
Unless you live here.
Unless you live here. But they're brutal. They are tough.
So those are my 5 products. Anything you question or would do differently?
So obviously all these things I look at, I say, okay, there's definitely valid. Yes, definitely when you're in town, support the local business with the water bottles. Like I say, that's something that me and my
water
family love
bottles,
to do.
T-shirts. I know Main Street's got a lot of their own designs too, and T-shirts, like Sweet Granada, the coffee shops in town, that side of it.
But I'll also say this too, and this is just me. These are 5 good items, 5 good ideas, no doubt. Go into the shop, walk around, and see also what's there, and you might go, "Ooh,
Yeah.
I need that."
I mean, in the impact, and I know Neil's talking the shop here, but the expo in general.
Expo,
Because
the shop,
the thing
everything around,
is this event
everything around the event.
The event is so large now that remember, there's going to be new products that you and I don't even know about announced at the expo.
Yeah.
So there might be a 6th item on this list come next week's episode.
There could be. There's definitely probably some things that are going to come out here, I'm sure, as a surprise to us. A surprise to a lot of people because it is such a big event that if folks can announce a new product like Chamois Butter kind of alluded to here recently, they're going to take advantage to do that here at the expo.
It also sounds like the fire department's busy tonight.
I think it might be a little bit crazy.
We are right next door to the fire department or just down the street, and the doors are open to the studio tonight.
Why are the doors open?
Because it is literally going to be hotter right now in the studio than it is what it looks like on race day of the event.
Yeah, a little toasty in here.
It's warm in the studio tonight.
Let me tell you.
And we're filming at 10 o'clock at night. It's after 10 o'clock. So, yeah, those are my top 5 things.
I like them.
Just can't wait for everybody. And kind of jumping into our community section of the show. Emporia's ready. Emporia's excited to have people here.
And when you're here, again, I'll say this again and again and again, support local, support the local shops. Head to the coffee shops downtown, Granada, Gravel City Roasters. They are both within a block, literally, of the bike shop, within a block of the expo. They are right there. We have a bunch of great little eateries and places to snack at and get food at downtown. Take the opportunity to go into those places. Again, a lot of these places that are local in downtown, for the most part, are locally owned, supporting families here in this community. And they're great places too, to be honest with you. There's good food found in a lot of these restaurants.
Fantastic food in a lot of these restaurants. I will say the one thing that I would say as being a manager of another small local business is make sure you pack your patience as well.
Absolutely.
Like I was talking about, we talked about the size of this event and just the normal operating capacity of Emporia. I mean, all of these places, including me, I've recruited my wife and my parents. I've recruited Neil, a lot of volunteers and ambassadors to come help out in the shop. And I know the restaurants are no different. So Emporia is trying hard.
Yeah, we are. And it's the same problems I'm sure you see within your communities as well. People are not, maybe wanting to work in food service or some other places like that as much as they used to. And there's definitely going to maybe be some waiting here and there, but I promise you,
it's worth the wait.
It's worth the wait. The food is good, and enjoy it. You are here ultimately to have a good time, to enjoy the whole atmosphere and everything around the event. So enjoy these, little mom and pop places. Enjoy the smaller community. Enjoy the expo. Enjoy everything that kind of surrounds this area, because it's what makes this event in this community and everything that kind of surrounds it so special, is coming and enjoying it and being a part of it. So,
what are you most excited for? These are our closing thoughts of the show here. We'll see if we can drag this out for an eternity.
Most excited about, I'm excited about getting to be a part of the expo and kind of getting I'm sure see a lot of people through at that point. I'm going to help out at the Tailwind booth on Thursday and Friday. And I'm sure when I'm down there, I'm going to get to see a lot of people rolling through, have a bunch of conversations. And again, it's that family reunion thing, getting to hang out with people, seeing everybody. So looking forward to it.
Ditto. Same thing for me, just in the store more than the expo. We'll have a booth out in the expo as well for the store, and we are the official merchandise partner of UNBOUND. So the store will have a booth out there that'll be back and forth too. One thing I ask though is if you see us, make sure you introduce yourself and say that you're a follower, you listen, or you watch the show, so that we know who you are through that outlet. It just brings a lot of joy in what might be long, hot days, knowing that what we're doing has an impact. Even if that impact is it just gives you an hour away from something you'd rather not be doing. I can't say that we're always providing the best insight and knowledge, but we're trying.
Yeah, definitely. We enjoy it.
We love hearing from listeners and viewers of the show. So make sure you say hello. I'll be in the shop all week. I mean, 716 Commercial Street. I'll be in there the entire time. I will have my red Gravel Guru hat on probably most of the week, so you'll see me in there. But say hello. Don't be afraid to say hello. Don't have to buy anything. Just come in and see what's going on. I mean, there's going to be a lot of cool things happening.
Yeah, absolutely. Be around. Say hi. Like I said, I'll be at the Tailwind booth most of Thursday and Friday. I'm sure earlier in the week I'll be in the shop, even though I haven't fully given you any dedicated hour. I told you I'll be in there helping, whatever you need. Just, you have my phone number.
I do have your phone number
I
at this
might put you
point.
on block this week.
Fair.
Yeah.
So, anyways, we are looking forward. We can't wait to see everybody in town. I mean, this episode's going live Monday morning, so not very many hours from when we're filming this right now. Hope everybody's got a safe Memorial Day if you're listening to this right when it comes out. Safe travels to Emporia.
Yes.
Take your time. Get here safely. Take care of your equipment. Take care of your bikes. Get them all here safely. Watch out for cyclists in Emporia. There are so many cyclists, so many people excited to be here. Just make sure you're watching before you pull out of parking lots, before your Airbnb, your hotels, wherever you're staying. Look out for each other.
There's going to be more cyclists around than I'm sure even a cyclist is used to seeing.
Correct.
It gets crazy in this community. There are people on bikes. I mean, literally all day. So just for reference really quick, I know we're trying to wrap up, but this morning preaching at church, our church, I can literally look out and see 12th Avenue. I counted over a dozen bicycles going past the front of the church building just in an hour's worth of time.
I was in the shop this afternoon from like 3 to 7 p.m., and that's the same thing. I mean, you just see them coming. And these are not necessarily local cyclists. I didn't know any of these people that I saw ride by type deal, which is awesome.
Yeah, so there's going to be a lot of folks.
Watch out for each other. Remember, if you're in town riding beforehand, that our communities are very thankful that we get to use these roads like we do on Saturday. So make sure we're respecting cars and stop signs and safety limitations that way. But anyways, we cannot wait to have you here. We look forward to seeing you. And if we don't see you in person before the event, good luck this weekend.
Yeah, have fun.